Good morning. Good morning. Bella says good morning. She's been a bit needy today, but that's okay because we like it when she's needy. Yeah. So who we got here? We've got Cindy. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning. And she. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Don't expect too much today. Didn't have anything planned. I know it's the 100th episode. Who would have thought we made it this far? Oh, I know. I should have been more like some of the more. Um, oh, Barb is here. Good morning, Barb. Good morning, Gail. 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 Good morning, Barb. Good morning. Um, honestly, and I really didn't think I'd make it this far. But here we are, and I have nothing planned. um some of the others that do this. Good morning, Jesse. It's good to see you. Good morning, Jesse. um that do this whole live streaming thing. They have big plans for their milestones. Me, it's just me. What can I say? Oh, so 100 episodes. We've covered a lot. Sometimes more than once. But that's okay because we do a lot of work with a lot of new people, and sometimes they just don't know how to go back to see if what they want. Oh, are you wanting down now? All right. They don't know how to go back to see if what they're looking for has already been covered. So we cover it again. Not a problem. Um, how's the organizing, Barb? Okay, Barb wants to know how the organizing is going. Couple of weeks back, I had mentioned that it was time to do some serious organizing. Listen, I have the stabilizer. The stabilizer is now organized, but everything else is still a mess. Today is a light day. Um, I try to keep Saturdays more for uh, at home kind of things. But today I have uh, a laser project I want to try to work with. I'm still tweaking out that whole patch project. We're this much closer, um, and I want to do two more areas in my organizing. So wish me luck with that. When it's all done, I was just thinking, when it's all done, I'll give you a tour. But oh, good morning, Woody. Good morning. Thank you, Woody. Woody's exclamation on my 100th episode. So I was just thinking that I would, once the whole room is organized, that I would take pictures and show you all. But then I got to thinking, the minute I get one space done and go on to the next one, I'll the first space will get all kind of mess. So maybe I'll take pictures as you go, and you won't know that what you're seeing is a piece built as we go. Yeah, I could do that. Um, but yeah, that's my plan today. I've got some patchwork that I want to work on. Um, I don't know, maybe here's this is some of the stuff that I did yesterday. Since we're here, this one, can you see that? This one uses a template to cut out. Well, the laser software that I'm using is supposed to be able to um, take a picture of what you've got there and um, place your cut lines. But mine, when I do that, let me get this in the right. That's the right one? No, this is it. When I do that, As you can see, the cut line is off. So that's what I'm working on. What does Cindy have here? Cindy, just watching her 9 o'clock show. Sue is showing me Dime's new color play threads. They look really pretty. And I thought I saw an email on those recently. Yeah, if I recall, they are really pretty. Letty's here. Good morning, Letty. It's good to see you. Oh, Barb had something here. Working on fabric vinyl and upholstery roll storage. I'm going with a deck planter box on wheels. Oh, that sounds nice. Now, I don't have the room for that, um, but I love the idea. Let me see if I can find. I had a little bit of corner space beyond one of my tables. And it was just enough space. It's scrolling. There it is. Um, Happy image. Oh, it's not going to let me show it to you. It was just enough space. Hey, Diane. Good morning. To tuck into the corner. And what I did, and I'll show this to you here. Let's see if we can. Ta-da! Here we are. So you see, it's just a little narrow rack. And what I did is I took these shelves, which were lower and more toward the floor and a little less accessible, and I moved them up into here. So I've got my 6 shelves that are holding the stabilizer, and I set it so that it was longer and would have more support. So the stabilizer lays in this way, and it was working out really well because I have the different stabilizer types on the different shelves. So yeah, I'm liking that. That turned out great. But that's just one little thing, isn't it? That's just one little thing. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I need to get on it. Yeah. It is a nice shelf. And it's narrow. It's only, it's only about like this by like this. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. The shelves are adjustable. So I could put them where I needed them. Like, I didn't want them on the floor because, well, first I have cats um, who would take and shred a roll of stabilizer like, like a tree, like leaves on a tree. Uh, so I wanted to make sure that they were up away from the animals and accessible. I know, Cindy, cats. Well, and Bella's no angel. She likes to chew on stuff. And she's not a shoe chewer and she's not a furniture chewer. She goes, if I drop a pen on the floor, I better find it right away, or it'll be in pieces. Last night she had a roll of electrical tape. My husband does repair, radio repair. Um, and she had a roll of electrical tape that she was chewing on. Ah, so yeah, let's go back up here. Letty, no, no. Yes, Letty. Cindy wants to know how your shop is going. Tell us, girl. Tell us. You got I don't know if you guys all saw, but Letty got a new parking lot asphalt laid for her birthday. Wasn't that sweet? Yeah. Okay, so while we're sitting here chit-chatting, what I thought is I would just put up the screen, do a little digitize. I know, Cindy, a new parking lot. a new parking lot would be awesome. Not that I need a parking lot. No, I don't need a parking lot. So this is a jacket back order that I'm digitizing. And as you can see, oh, here we are. Woody's going to go back and watch episode 76, 77, the one about the arch lettering on the hat back, as it'll be our first order when looking to educate. I'm very happy to see yours. Oh, Woody, thank you. You are so sweet. Um, if I recall, uh, paper, marker, scanner. You got that covered. So again, back to this. This is a jacket back piece. Um, and as you can see, the buffaloes here, those are probably clip art graphics that they cut and paste in place. And to make sure I get the sizing right, I did size the image in software to be the size of the smallest jacket back. And I put some it's it's not all that much, Cindy, but yeah, it's out there. And you're right, Woody. Paper marker scanner, boom, you got it. So going back to this is going to be the tricky part. I mean, everything else is pretty standard, but animals animals are shaded and shadowy, and some of this I wasn't sure if some of this would be sized enough to show this kind of detail. So what I did was I put a box around it, and the box tells me that overall this thing's about 2 inches by 4 inches. That's the question, Cindy. Cindy wants to know if I'll use all the shading on the buffalo. And initially, I have some ideas on that, and that's kind of what we're going to go through here today. So I wanted to make sure that this was going to be large enough to actually do the detail, and it is. It's about 2 inches tall by 4 inches. Um, I put out some samplers here. This is a single run, 2, 3. This is a stem stitch, kind of gives a little more body to the line. This is a 1 millimeter satin. And as you can see, even, the satin was going to work out really well. So here's what I want to do with this. I want to start out with, let's find, come along. Ooh, maybe this one. Yeah, not quite. Light brown sugar. Yeah, let's go with light brown sugar. What do you think? And Cindy said she's reminding me we only have 15 colors, 15 needles on the machine unless we're changing thread colors. I don't think that's going to be necessary. Here, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to start, and I try to start with the back and move forward on this particular piece because all of this is going to lay on top of the back. So I'm just going to, and this is just a rough run. Can you hear Bella out there? She's sitting at the door, uh, barking at the people on the sidewalk. Okay, so like I said, this is just really rough. Um, don't want to spend our time together working out and fussing with all the specifics. But that's my first layer. And because it's an animal, I want to give it some texture. So I'll do a random stitch, which changes the texture. Now, what about that other shade color? Well, let's hide this. And we're going to take our color again. Thank you. I like using the random stitch, Cindy. So we're going to take our shading. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just picking up the shading. All right, where'd you go? Well, that didn't work. All right, let's just try this again. There we go. All right, so that's enough shading. What about the density of the layers? Very good question, Machine. Let's talk about that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these in. And then I'm going to change the stitch angle. And then, so my first layer, let's unhide that. My first layer is a full Cindy's asking about the jacket back. How heavy is the jacket? Carhartt heavy. Um, so yeah, density is going to be a factor. I know the jacket will support it, but you know, you're going through all of that layering in the jacket, and then you're adding layers on layers and layers. So here's what I'm thinking. These pieces, my shade pieces, which are not going to be a different thread color, will be a different density. I'm going to open up the density by half. I'm going to get rid of the underlay here because I won't really need it. Now, let's go back to the full size. Should we randomize this? What do you think? Let's make this a half random. Let's go back to the full size. What do you think? Let's see if we can't get rid of that dot. What do you think? Can you see the shadowing? Can you see the shading? Or should we go ahead and make it a slightly darker color? No, that's too dark. And of course, the dark brown will help distinguish a lot of that too. What are we going to do with that? Slightly darker. Yeah, maybe just even a little darker than light brown sugar is where we were. Yeah. Some of the names on these colors. Uh, pea soup. Pea soup would give me an indication that maybe it's got a little um, green in it. Is that better? So what are we going to do with the the brown. Well, here I've got an idea about that too. Let me hide these. Let's bring this back up. Oop, there we are. I'm not a fan of split satins. Where the satin is so wide and the software splits it to make it fit. But I think in this situation, it might be to our advantage. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of the underlay. We're going to open up the density. Maybe a little more. Let's do another bit. And remember, I'm just doing rough node placement because I don't want to spend all of your time and again for the one and again no underlay. Let's open this one up, unhide, and take this back down. I'm going to increase our density a bit. What do you think? Let's compare it over here. See, in doing this, unhide, opening up, I have my standard 40.40 density on my first layer. My shading layer is an open density with no underlay. And no underlay because it's going on top of this whole tatami fill. And the tatami fill is going to give the threads the support that your underlay would do. So no underlay. Open the density out so that it looks like a shading. The color is reflecting back differently. And yeah, I wonder. So what do you guys think? Cindy, are you suggesting the stitch style and angles for the dark brown bearding or the shading? There's a delay between my speaking to you and your replies to me. So I'll hang out and wait for it. Do, do, do. In the meantime, This is, it's warm in here today. For those of you that don't know, SWO Buffalo is a ranch on an Indian reservation. I'm the same way, Cindy. I'm the same way. And that's why I started out. Let me get back to, I started out with the same color choice um, for the shading with just a different density and a different stitch angle. Because like you, no need to change colors if you don't have to. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. So I went ahead with that, yeah. Exactly. Cindy's got a point here. When you change your stitch angle and your density, what happens is the light's going to reflect differently, which is going to fool the eye and the mind into thinking that it's a whole different color. Which is something that we do in digitizing a lot. We want to, for production purposes, and as I recall, there's going to be about 6 or 8 of these jackets that they're doing. So for production purposes, they are going to want it to move fast. How about we move on to grass? You want to look at how I do my grass? Let's go back up here. Now, we're going to start with just this particular green. Yeah, production is a consideration when you're digitizing. Um, you want to be aware of what your customer, what their needs are. In my case, I need to, have an idea of the equipment they're going to use. I know that looks just like an outline, doesn't it? But it's not. It's going to be a satin that we're going to change stitch angles on because, grass does not grow all in one direction. Come along. I'm going to get rid of the underlay and increase the fill, or excuse me, decrease the fill, maybe a little bit more. Oh, that was wrong. There we go. Now let's do those stitch angles again. And my software has this effect. It's called Where is it? There it is. Jagged edge. Oh, good point, Cindy. I'll get to that in just a second. We want to incorporate a jagged edge. I like using a really rough look in my length range. Here's Cindy's point. Cindy, let me get her message here. Tell us about stitches that are not appropriate for jacket back. Oh, yeah, that's just one layer of grass. I usually do two. Um, so going back to the stitches, you want to be aware that when people are wearing jackets, um, they're living in them. They're going to put them on, and then they're going to get in their car and they're going to lean back, or they're going through a door carrying something and they scrape the back against the edge of a door frame, or they're um, working and they lean back on a wall. These are all things that can catch and damage your stitching. More so, let's see, what size is this? Yep. This is just a simple 6 millimeter satin. Doesn't seem like a lot, but if I leave it in this configuration, it's going to be easy enough for somebody just to catch one of those threads. And even more so, a lot of times people will take and they will do a 10 millimeter. If this is the satin that you're using and it doesn't have any splits, it doesn't have any support underneath it, because remember, a satin stitch just goes, it penetrates from here over to here. There's nothing in the center. Eventually, come on, eventually this satin stitch is going to sag. It's going to sag. It's going to get loose and it's going to sag. Or it's going to get caught on something and then it's going to break. And then you start unraveling. So you want to be aware of what your stitches are going to do in real life. All right, let's go back to the grass. Because grass does not grow in a uniform angle, I feel comfortable duplicating the grass I have, changing its color, and flipping it. Oh, gotta change my jagged effect. Maybe even resizing it so it's a little bit smaller. And doing both sides jagged. And then putting that on top of the green. Yeah, I don't like that green. It's almost too dark. Oh, not you. Think the grass is too heavy? Machine, yes, I do. In this case, I won't necessarily stitch out the whole design because I'm pretty confident that all of the straight line and the text pieces are going to stitch well. I don't have any worries about that. But I will stitch out this buffalo because I want to make sure that the densities aren't going to be too heavy. Letty, you like my grass? Thank you. So I want to make sure that the densities aren't going to be too heavy. And no, I don't have a spare Carhartt jacket to stitch on. So what am I going to use? Well, I'm going to have to, I'll use a heavier, maybe a twill fabric, um, heavier cutaway stabilizer, um, because I'm not going to take and destroy a Carhartt jacket for a test stitch. So I will find similar fabric types to test stitch. Let's see. Um, Cindy says that she test stitches on stabilizer. People don't suggest it, but maybe a sweet top sweat. Are you saying sweat? Uh, Likes my grass. Thank you, Letty. Jesse says it's looking good. What do we got here? You can use a canvas with a layer of that padded fabric. Oh, good idea. If you go to the store, if you go to the fabric store, you can buy quilted fabric. I've used that before. I've made kennel covers and used it for machine covers. Um, let's see. Quilted fabric, pre-quilted. Cindy says people buy canvas drop cloths to cut up and sew out. I'm not a big fan of the drop cloth because the weave is so wide and the threads, I think they refer to them as yarns, the yarns are really thick. There you go. Let it even go to the dollar store and get a piece of canvas to stitch out. Almost the same as a Carhartt. Barb. Painter's cloth canvas is cheap and effective. Buy a drop cloth. Are you concerned about the weave, Barb? Well, Doug, how are you doing? Doug, you still dealing with the smoke and everything in your area? Yeah, it's just I like the which is why I'll buy outdoor upholstery fabric. Um, it's also a heavier canvas type fabric, but the weave is really tight. And you can, if you're doing it just for test pieces, you can go to the remnant section, or they have like a bulk buy section, search for a color there because about you don't need to worry about the pattern or anything. You're just doing a stitch out. Camping this weekend at the mark. Okay, well, good. I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing okay. Um, yes, back to the question about stitch count. Let me go back and find that. Do, 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 but maybe you're absolutely right. How to take the design and not have a million stitches. If this, in fact, hang on, I want to show you, since we're here and all, I want to show you a patch that I did. Where are you, Jay John? And okay, this is a patch I did for a client. Um, it's an all of this was supposed to be your standard fill. Where'd my fills go? But look at that. It's 252,000 stitches. 252,000 stitches. By my calculation, that's about a 7-hour stitch out, which means that this patch, just based on time, should have been about $300. How many of your customers, your clients, will spend $300 for a jacket back patch? Not mine. So what did we do? We made it an applique. Let me see if I'm going to change the color of the background here. We made it an applique, and then over the stitches, over the fabric, we put an open density running stitch. It gave us the stability, and when I say us, I'm referring to my client and me. It gave us the stability on the patch, and it looked like it was fully filled. Now, I used a 4-point density here. 4-point, not 0.4. Some people would have suggested 3, which would still work well. But we went with a 4. Now, remember, we were at 250,000 stitches. This design file, as it sits here, with the applique, is only 120,000 stitches. That is very doable. At 120,000 stitches, do, 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 uh, um, 2 hours. That's 2 hour stitch out. I could get 4 of these done in an 8-hour day rather than just one in an 8-hour day. And Cindy, that's what today's all about. Jump everywhere you want. In fact, we're at 45 minutes. We should probably end this soon. I would not want to make 100 of those. No, no. What have you got, Barb? I think the most expensive patch I did was for biker leather jacket. It was around $250. He wanted full embroidery. Of course, he had a spendy hog motorcycle. Yeah, I've got some of those too. But again, a lot of people don't want to spend that kind of money. So, we've lost track of time. I know we could probably keep doing this all day, but I know you all have things to do. I've got some laser work I want to work on. We learned so much. Appreciate you. Oh, hey, Every time. Every time. Never be afraid to ask the question. You're welcome, machine. So, we'll see you next week. Diane, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for spending the morning with me. I really do appreciate it. Um, if you have any questions, you know how to reach me, right? You can send me a message on Facebook. You can email me at quick2stitch, um, at quick2stitch uh, at gmail.com. You can find a contact at quick2stitch.com. Um, I'm so happy that Doug, like they said, it's just a bunch of random questions. Thank you, Barb. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. If it weren't for you guys, I would not be here at 100 episodes. And with that, I we need to say goodbye. We could go on forever, but wasn't that fun? Do you have more questions? Do you want to learn something new? Join me at quick2stitch.com for coffee and conversation, and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.